Alright, well, after a longer hiatus, because I don't have an upload schedule of any kind. I try to upload every day, but sometimes I just have other things I'd rather do. Even though this doesn't take much effort, it just can sometimes be annoying when the car doesn't drive the way you want it to. It seems like if I want a race to go poorly in my head, that's when the car decides, you know what, I drive well. And then we'll have a race like the attempt I just had, where the car literally cannot touch any curb, or it's literally like, game over, yeah. Because you don't recover cars in this game no matter what kind of spin you have. It's like a spin at 30 or 130. The car will just endlessly slide in one direction and you can't correct it without like a sledgehammer. So you're here at the probably most ambiguously named track in the game. You know, most tracks like Daytona, Indianapolis, Fuji, the name represents the location. Apparently, whoever made this track didn't get that memo. Yeah, it's in the Americas, but where? That's two whole continents. It's in Austin, Texas, but it's not the point. The point is, that could be in Brazil, it could be in Vancouver, it could be in frickin' Argentina. The Americas isn't really that specific. And honestly, the track is about as vague and annoying too. Because I only put this track on the list because it's really a track these cars go to normally. And even the real-life drivers don't always agree with this track being something they have to do. Even, like, America's trademark sports car or endurance racing series has actually just turned this track down completely. Because, you know, funny enough, a track designed for F1 cars doesn't quite work for GT3 cars. Or anything else that's not an F1 car or close to an F1 car. It's also very foggy here, which, being in Texas, I don't think that's very accurate. But anyway. Have a interesting set of drivers because, almost like the send-off episodes, like for Make a Duty and Slide Out, this is more than one car class racing here, not just the GT3s. So today I'm racing as Burnout. He's here to hopefully get his revenge from basically being tossed around like a toy car in the last time he appeared. But joining us is Penelope, who it recently occurred to me is the only not non-Cartoon Network or Hot Wheels character that's made their way into Time Loop. And admittedly, I don't think they would have done it either if it weren't for the fact that their backstory is literally that they are born to race. Just was by extension. And Ralph is on the character list, he just hasn't shown up yet. Then we have So Fast, who also probably wants some redemption as well from the last time he showed up to a racetrack. And I think we have Carbon here, starting 6th, which is kind of a little bit fitting considering Burnout's here, and allegedly Carbon, or the other villain, is probably the reason why Burnout's getting screwed. But it's not just these GT cars. Sure, it's most of them, but it's not just them. Along with them, we have, if I can remember what button changes the leaderboard around, Road A cars. Basically, the ultimate supercars of basically the entire world are in this class. We have two Pagani Huayras, starting 1st and 3rd, a McLaren P1, and a Porsche 918, which the Porsche 918 was in Assetto Corsa, and Twin Mill drove that in one of the higher tier acts. I don't remember which one though. Then we get modern stock cars, basically think NASCARs. You have a Radical RXC, which is in the same class as the above cars, but starts behind the stock cars based on lap time. And then we have Road B, the second highest tier of super sports cars. Say Pagani Zonda, I think this is Pagani Huayra. 3 BAC monos, which are basically like KTM crossbows on steroids. And a Lamborghini Veneno, and a Ferrari 458 Specialty. So basically it's a convertible road-going version of the car that I'm in. So let's try and deal with this fog and actually stay off the curbs, because those things apparently are just death incarnate here. And the Road A's get a little rowdy off the start, as the Cadillac is taking the full brunt of. The main problem with them, though, is that they also don't have the best cornering or brakes, meaning that they're very significant obstacles, especially in the early going of the race. As you can see here, I'm probably going to sit behind this guy. I might kind of have to do that, actually. I wasn't going to try and steer on the curbs, it would basically be suicidal. This is interesting, because I'm already not terribly familiar with this track as it is. I mean, yeah, I know the layout. I do plenty of F1 races here, but I'm not totally familiar with it, and I'm not familiar with it in this kind of car, even though I won a league race here in this exact vehicle, which is basically the only reason why Burnout drives a specific car, is because it's a vehicle that I have a specific attachment to. Don't have the greatest turning, but sometimes that's not a bad thing. Because the car turns in too much, and it'll just, like, slide around like crazy. Almost like extreme racing in a way, but worse, because in this game, hitting a wall does a little more than allow you to bounce off of it. So I originally had a different setup because like I mentioned, I had run league races here before, and I had a car setup for that, which I thought would be like, oh, this is probably do better in the race. Yeah, no, it doesn't, because my driving style has changed so drastically since then. As mentioned in the game, physics themselves have been slightly adjusted since then as well, meaning that setup was all but useless. I can't tell if I'm seeing like those little dots, if that's supposed to be rain falling, or if that just like affects from the fog. I hope it's the first one. I don't want rain here, it's terrible. Please get off of that. My god, you cannot see in any direction besides, like, you know, like a couple hundred feet in front of your own face. It's almost like the weather said heavy fog or something, right? That's not really where you brake there. Okay, it didn't say anything in the broadcast. Come on, let's turn to day, please. Am I on... No, I'm on softs. Okay, so I don't know why the car is so lackadaisical about making the turn. I'd rather it wasn't, though. And there's Hot Wheels more product placement. You can tell Ryan Storm is back here. Hairs in my face. Oh, that's not how you take that corner fairly. We never said Burnout was lawful good exactly, to say the least. So he's not a villain. He's trying to help everyone get out of here, but at the same time, some people's methods are different from others. If he's going crazy like some of the Hot Wheels characters think he is, then he's probably looked to just about any possible tactic he can use to get out of here. Clearly they haven't worked. Doesn't mean he hasn't tried them yet. Tiny bit of curb. I really cannot tell if I'm actually catching So Fast and that McLaren 650S up there. Doesn't feel like I am. More interesting lines coming from me there. It's now also becoming what I imagine must be sunset back there somewhere. There we go, that looked like I actually knew what I was doing there. It's usually a good sign. Okay, let's not touch that curb. Or any of them for that matter. Oh, we are catching them! Apparently So Fast decided he wanted to brake extra early. He's still having some car problems. Or car handling problems, specifically. Batteries may be reacting to what the McLaren up there ahead is doing. The fog is now going away, but now the vision problems have been replaced by the fact that it's now the middle of the night, suddenly. Ferrari with its weird yellow headlights were... Oh, I didn't like that at all. It's weird yellow headlights, whereas most GT3s have white ones, like the Audi up there. The Audi. He's got a name, me. Okay then. The way So Fast keeps braking is having to force me to rethink how I'm going to brake. You can't dive bomb somebody if you're braking earlier than them So Fast. It isn't how it works. Oh no. I have missed completely. I'm too busy watching what he's doing. God, freaking A So Fast, you're about to get us both wrecked. Brake normally. He left basically the exact width of my car. No more, no less. Which, yeah, that's all you have to do. But I would like more room as a player trying to pass a computer. Now we're actually making progress through the field rather than just sitting and trying to see where I'm going. Now look at this lap time. Second faster than the last one. I broke a tiny bit early. Better earlier than late. It's almost always the case. No, don't you do that. Stupid curbs. Every single one in this track is just a disease, because I run over one anyway. Okay, not all of them, but it seems like the majority of them just want me to die. That's the breaking point. I'm way better than them through that turn and seemingly that turn alone. I like that even through this, yes. If I can take it right, that is. Okay, you left a space there and you just kind of didn't. Get it up to Vanellope. Surprisingly, I figured the Road A cars would have been more of a pain than they have been. Also, what are the lap times? Well, I have the fastest one, yes. Bad touch. Bad touch. I knew she was going to close that off as soon as she opened it, and I was like, no, I'm just not even going to think about it. Alright, well. Please get off of that. Thank God. If it's not a curb that just sends your car immediately into a downward spiral, it's a curb like that one, where it just, like, hooks onto your car like it's Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. You just cannot get off it until it straight up ends. That would be another example. It's usually on the outside of turns where those are that do that. See where you break. Pretty much right where I do, but I have the secret of I have a lot of negative cambers, so I can just take this terrapin like crazy. And then apparently can't take the other ones like crazy for some reason. Case in point. GT cars, this track feels a little bit like a waiting game. Especially on the setup that I'm using. Okay, we're turning. Yes, like when I say it's a waiting game, I refer to the fact that you basically have to wait for the car to slow itself down and make the corner for you before you can take any further actions. Alright, speaking of actions, apparently the one of braking was just not really done there. Just forego that, I guess. It's not important. Another perfectly fine racing line, don't even question it. It's nowhere near the line the AI drivers take through it, but it's how I take it. That was a little rude. It was also very, like, decisive. Like, I'm doing it now. And just surprised him a little bit, probably. But hey, I don't know the guy, so why should I care? Oh my god. I'm trying to spin out, I'm pretty sure. With a line like that, there's no other possible explanation. Now I get to deal with their slipstream, as well as the fact that I have a lot of downforce in the car. And pray to God they don't get any funny ideas and just decide to throw it in there on me like I did to him, which, you know, I mean, if it were a real person, it wouldn't surprise me. But the AI aren't supposed to be malicious like that. Unless it's like Burnout or Hot Wheels Beat That or something. Now it is the darkest night. The lights have turned on. Very consistent lap times. Which, out of a race car driver, consistency is the most you can feasibly ask for. Honestly. Oh, you didn't get it from me, though. Here's the curb for you. And I can do this incredibly fun noise from this bumper flopping off the car. Thank God damage is off for this one. It has now become full-on daylight, to where the lights are now turning off around the track. excuse me, Mr. R8, get back here with my lead. I saw another opportunity and I had to take it. Well, yeah, I had to say something about consistency. This lap will be, well, actually only 3 seconds slower. Really, if it would happen, it isn't much. I just did a vehicular handspring and carried on like nothing happened, except for the fact that my bumper is sane otherwise, but it doesn't do anything to affect the vehicle's driving, it only affects the audio I'm receiving. Okay, let's not touch the curbs. Not touch the curbs, me. What did I just say to myself? And then immediately tried to ignore. I definitely don't need you on my behind, either. Doesn't mean get closer. That means go away. I would always pretend that that's a reference to Velocity Wars, but that's also kind of a different freaking timeline. That never really technically even happened here. There's another weighted game. You just kind of have to wait for the end of the turn before you can apply more or less throttle. You don't even have to brake for it. You just let off slightly, turn the steering wheel, and watch the car basically do the entire corner for you. We'll now have 2 laps to go, so 2 more laps of avoiding curbs and hoping the Audi doesn't get any funny ideas. This might also be the first race where it's been dry the entire way and I still had the traction control on high the entire way because this track just scares me. It scares me and annoys me. It's like a terrible horror movie. Or a badly made horror game, for that matter. Also fits. Another 210.3, the third time I've run that kind of lap. Let's go through there anymore. That is one heck of a load off my back. We've only got 2 remotely difficult corners remaining. The next one and the triple apex. Or in simpleton terms, the really long right turn. And that's why I learned in the first attempt of recording this, you don't try and go flat out in this part of the corner. You'll just slide upwards up the track and into that curb, and that'll, if you aren't smart about it, which I this time was paying some attention. Whereas before, I'd already been hit by someone else, and was already a little flustered, so it was like, I was in drive like moron mode, and that just made things worse when I did that. And we're done here. So Burnout has definitively achieved his revenge. Whether or not he trusts the other Hot Wheels drivers is yet to be seen. Wow, ain't that something? And enjoy my Burnout. Oh, I wasn't pinning. Oh, ow. Yeah, I deserve that. That's a lot of damage. So that is it for the, I think this is 21, the episode 21 of the time loop. With Burnout having his revenge, and, Vanellope being so fast about breaking even, and no other cars anywhere on the road, visibly. And here they come. The road A's in the Cadillac, that was probably too dazed and confused to even try. I don't know, there's like 6 cars that look like that, so I'm gonna go ahead and try and catch him and see if that's the one I'm thinking of. Because if that's the case, we might have also just shut down Carbon pretty hard, or it could be like the other episode and there's just no one here. It's not significant. If it's number 1 or 4 car, then it's no one. If it's the 3 car, which is ideal, it's Carbon. I think that's actually 2. Okay, that's a bit of damage. Okay, that's 2. So this is actually the other villain. And nothing is doing anything to him. Burnout getting a little desperate here. And there you go, guy. Let's put him in some traffic. Well, I kinda actually just did.